All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final game of the day between Keen Gaming and IG. It is, of course, MLPDota, joined by johnxfire. John, we saw the Dazzle come out for the first time. I want to say the first time, but it's the core Dazzle that came out for the first time during the DPL. You definitely weren't a big fan of it, but do you think it'll come out a second time this series?
Probably not. I'll be honest, probably not. It didn't do too bad in the laning phase, but just like the Grimstroke we've been seeing so far, like Grimstrokes tend to do very well in that laning phase. It's just that transition to the mid game. Once they reach that mid game time, it just feels like it doesn't get enough done. That core Dazzle had a decent time in the Necrobook, really good time in the lane. Kind of did they got a couple of kills on emo, and they really slow down his initial farm. But as it went to that mid game, it's just what was it offering? Really, it didn't offer enough. You definitely need a bit more in your bad juju to really maximize it. That's towards the late game when you can hit level 18. That gap in utility is just way too big to really justify that pick, I feel.
Well, it is available if either team does want to pick it up. Keen Gaming, however, they do actually go for the first pick lone draw. This is going to really allow the side of IG to directly counter this hero. But I mean, clearly the thing is you didn't ban it out, and you probably don't want to give it back to IG, who obviously know how to play it very, very well. So they will take it for themselves. I don't know, John. First pick lone draw, it doesn't seem like the greatest idea to me, but how do you feel about it?
I think it's all right. You have some flexibility with where you could lane it. Um, it does feel fairly strong now with with the link working the way it is, and the amount of damage you can deal to buildings. It's pretty whacked. I feel. Back to the focus on that lone druid itself instead of the bear. You're not tied into that cooldown. If the bear dies, well, it's tied to that cooldown. You're not going to be completely useless at the very least. You can do something. So I feel like Lone Druid is pretty okay to open with. It's just rather strange. Like for the most part, we've been seeing either an offlaner or support opening for most teams. This is the first time we've seen something that's a bit. It does have some flexibility, but I feel like no matter what position it's in, the Lone Druid still needs a lot to come online.
Invictus Gaming's turn.
Well, IG, they'll go for the Tusk. Makes perfect sense. I mean, just grabbing that position for Tusk, it's just so darn powerful right now. And of course, you saw last game, like, the one thing Keen Gaming had going for them is the fact that they could snowball into the Lone Druid and just try to burst him down, and they will indeed go for the Undying as well. Why the hell not? I really do prefer this opening a lot more from IG. The Keen Gaming, they will pick up the Shadow Shaman, so we're starting to see a somewhat, I don't want to say meta, but it's starting to establish itself.
Yeah, definitely. So you do see these set of heroes being prioritized for sure. I think the LD has not been as ubiquitous, but the Shadow Shaman has been showing up every other game. The Tusk has been showing up every other game. The Undying, when it's not banned out, tends to show up as well. So these heroes are definitely pretty key in how fast these games are going. I feel like in this draft specifically, KG's opening is a bit more tied in to really just pushing, right? You want the Shadow Shaman to get a good time in this level 6. You want your Lone Druid to be able to farm up a fair bit so he can do a lot more damage. And you will be focusing on pushing towers, or at least, finding a pick off, taking a good team fight with those wards. And, that emphasis for tempo is definitely on Keen Gaming. Whereas IG, sure, their heroes kind of taper off in that late game. They just get stronger as it goes into the mid game, which is the real key factor here, as most of these games have not really reached the late game, Mike.
No.
So I feel like with the way power scaling works and how long games last, I think you're fine with IG's opening kind of with how it is. I think you have good catch and good disable with the Tusk. It's probably not the biggest amount of AoE control you can ask for, but it's pretty damn good. The Undying as well, a lot of area of control denial. Decay is a really great spell. Soul Rip can sustain your cores, and Flesh Golem is pretty darn good now.
Yeah.
So I do like this opening a bit more from IG, Mike.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. We'll see what happens after these final bans come out, IG. They've just got one more for themselves. Of course, the Slark is still available. Like, if they wanted to go down that route, pick up the Slark, obviously an imbalanced carry right now. Grab a Shadow Blade up, and you're pretty much always going to be able to find that Lone Druid. Mind you, of course, Lone Druid, he does have ways of getting away from that Slark, but it's not going to be so easy, so I would not be shocked to see that pickup coming out if IG did want to run that.
Yeah, the Slark is a viable option. You know, Slark did get rework. He's been doing a lot of work in the past few games. The win rate hasn't been, nothing ridiculous like 100%, of course, so far in this tournament, but it does have its uses. It does have its moments. I personally don't think it's like the most broken hero in the game right now. I feel like there are a few more heroes that definitely take that spot, Mike. Slark is pretty strong. I mean, he was stronger than before, which was pretty much nearly unusable. So Slark does have a pretty specific niche now. I mean, in this situation, you could work the Slark in for IG. I feel like you could probably go with different cores, though. Like, there are definitely a few more cores. Sure, you could jump the Shadow Shaman fairly well. You could try to hunt down that Lone Druid. I don't think it really ties in well with your supports. It's not the greatest thing for your, to support those two. And, instead we do get the PL, which I feel is a great response to that Shadow Shaman. A lot of a single target control coming out from Keen Gaming in that Shadow Shaman doesn't do too much against Phantom Lancer. Maybe you clear out the illusions once you have Max Eater Shock, if the PL's not tanky by then. But as time goes on, you just do less and less towards this hero.
Well, the PL seemingly just never disappears from the meta. Earthshaker, of course, being picked up immediately. This hero as well, still very strong. Like, you feel like, alright, he didn't receive that many buffs during the recent patch, but he didn't really receive any nerfs either, so still a pretty great hero to have, especially up against that PL. Although these drafts starting to look a lot more like the previous meta that we were watching, which is rather depressing, John, I'm not going to lie. IG, fourth pickup now for them. Let's see if they change it up a bit. Still, they do require some sort of an offlane and mid-core that they can run.
Yeah, there is some flexibility for Keen Gaming's draft in Compow K.
Yeah, they'll go for the Dazzle this time around. I don't blame them, John. I still think this hero is pretty darn powerful. I just don't think it was played in the right draft.
It would be interesting to see it work in this time. I feel like, again, that potential is there, but can they fix the issues going into that mid-game? Where you want to be strong, but you're not quite there yet. Your laning phase is amazing. You don't really do too much until, after that laning phase, until you hit maybe level 18. And again, that's when bad juju really kicks in. 50% CDR on Grave, 50% CDR on everything you have is pretty darn amazing. But it takes a while to get there. 30% is a nice boost in usability for most of your spells. It's nothing, it's not like amazing. It's not like broken. 40% is pretty okay. It's the 50% mark that really makes it, pushes it to the edge, along with the minus armor. Because you can really scale up that minus armor much faster compared to level 1, 30%. It's huge. So we'll see if IG can really maximize this Dazzle pickup. It, again, is likely to be a core, I figure.
5 seconds remaining.
We saw it mid last time. I'm guessing it might go mid this time as well. I'm not sure how it's going to fare against Leshrac, but it will be played as core. I think that's the likely outcome here, Mike.
Yeah, but the Dazzle was in the offlane last game, John. Not in the mid.
They were setting it up for mid. They passed in 2 tangos.
I see. Well, IG, we'll see how they run it. Keen Gaming. Final ban out for them. We'll get to see what will happen in this game. Of course, Leshrac popping up once again. They will get rid of the Bat Rider as the final ban out for Keen Gaming, and we'll get to see what is left in store for this draft. Certainly, there is probably a lot more risk IG is taking with their own draft. In picking up the Dazzle, of course, it is probably considered overpowered, but at the same time, there's still a lot of mystery around how you
10
play it
seconds remaining.
as effectively as it could be. We'll
5
see.
seconds
Keen
remaining.
Gaming now. 34 seconds reserve time. They are going to think about this. I mean, it does look like they're just waiting for an offlane hero at this point. Unless they run the lone druid off and they just put someone else safe. I guess they could do that as well. And they're going to let it tick down all the way. Alright, and we do finally see the premiere of the Sand King, who was buffed pretty decently in the new patch as well.
Interesting pickup. Not a hero you see too often anymore. Again, he did get a bit of a buff, a bit of a rework in the last patch, mainly to Sandstorm,
10
which,
seconds
you know,
remaining.
it's pretty nice the way it is now. You pretty much just stay invisible inside, and you can walk around the area, it looks like. So it should be interesting to see how that goes. The change to Epicenter as well, it's a bit of a nice usability change. IAG closes out their draft with the Kunkka, so it's now definitely much harder to kill off any of these heroes. You already have a Shallow Grave, and you're going to have a boat buff as well on top of that. So much harder to burst down IAG's lineup. At the same time, I think Keen Gaming definitely has the superior teamfight lineup. As long as they get the jump first, take the Dazzle out, you can pretty much clean up after.
Well, they are going to put last in that offlane as the Dazzle again. It looks like Emo will be on that mid Kunkka up against the Leshrac. So we are going to see a similar sort of style. In fact, it's going to be the exact same laning stage we saw in the previous matchup, the Tusk Dazzle lane. Which I suppose is quite potent. Like, they had a fantastic start. It's just a matter of whether they can transition into the mid to late. But we're going to find out. It's going to be fun to watch, I'm sure. Of course, as well as that, Keen Gaming looking pretty scary themselves. We just saw what the Lone Druid can do. Shadow Shaman, always going to be good, and I'm going to be quite excited to see how good Sand King goes. Like you said, the Sandstorm was reworked. Should still be fun to watch out and see exactly how they're going to run it. Though overall, like, the hero is still practically the same apart from that Sandstorm.
For the most part, yeah. It should be interesting to see how he fits in. Again, that Sandstorm could lead to some pretty nice plays, I suppose. You have to invest a bit more to really lock that Sand King down. Make sure you keep vision on him. But the Sand King does have a bit more you can do inside that Sandstorm, so it's a bit nice. It's a usability update, I feel. And again, really ties in the team fight for KG. We'll see if they can really maximize their lineup this time.
Prepare for battle.
I feel like they have a failsafe in Old Chicken as well. As long as the Lone Druid gets farm, you can still find some stuff in the map.
It will be Emo in that mid lane. Dazzle will move his way to the off lane. Dogfights will be there as well. Again, it's almost expected that they're going to have a good lane with this match with these two heroes, but it's just a matter of whether they transition well into the mid. Of course, the Tusk always kind of transitions well no matter what stage of the game we're in, but well, the question mark is over the Dazzle right now. I'm rooting for the Dazzle, John. I want the Dazzle to be a good core hero.
30 seconds. To
Still
battle.
planning to play it tomorrow when I get online.
Sure. I definitely, I know, Mike. I told you what I feel about the Dazzle. If you still feel it's strong, you can experience it for yourself, I suppose. It does have its merits, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, at least in the pro scene right now, in the games we've seen so far, it doesn't reach the point where it's broken. You cannot reach that level 18. The games don't last long enough. I think the Dazzle in the last game must have been 16 to 17. I can't even remember anymore. I just don't remember seeing the level 3 bad juju in that game at all.
Well, 2 bounty runes for 2 bounty runes. Pretty even start for either team. Nothing too special to note. Of course, the off lane for the side of Keen, they will have Old 11 on that core Sand King. He will be joined by Dark on that Shadow Shaman. He'll be up against Ollie. And of course, Doodle on that Phantom Lancer. Because PL, although it did not really get touched during the patch, it's still one of those heroes. Like, it got slightly nerfed, but it's nothing to, you know, write home about. You've still got to be worried. Like, you let this hero farm too much, and during the mid to late game, he just becomes the biggest headache you've ever seen. Surprisingly, though, you look to mid lane, and Ying has already fallen very, very low. Emo just bursting him down, apparently, with just Tidebringer hits. And right clicks, for that matter. Be careful not to lose too much regen too quickly. Torrent will end up connecting as well. Emo going for the Tidebringer hit. He doesn't quite get it. He was stunned just in time. Emo, though, really wants to apply this pressure on the Leshrac. Really wants to force the gold out for that regen early on. And, well, he's being successful at this moment.
Yeah, not a good time for Ying so far. Pretty tied up in terms of last hits, but again, he has expended most of his regen, still holds on to that salve. Is experiencing it's just pretty back and forth, really. I think as it goes on, Kunkka Emo should be able to sustain a bit more harass, like he should be able to pump out a bit more with Tidebringer, but I'm not sure how much more damage that is compared to before. Like, you know, old Kunkka, because of the old cleave mechanics, it did a lot.
Emo still having a pretty good time, though. They are keeping up in CS, both of them. No one really winning out this lane so far. It's an Old 11. He hasn't actually gone for anything in Burrow Strike. Just Max going for the Caustic Finale and Sandstorm, of course. Will just allow him to CS very, very safely and efficiently in this off lane. Dogfight's actually starting off with the all chap. He's making a chase right now. Onto Karka on that Earthshaker. Well, he maybe pins it in. We see Old Chicken rotating around as well. And Dogfights will just run towards the west side of the map. This Dazzle is keeping up in farm. He's not really struggling whatsoever. Just 1 CS behind the Lone Druid for the moment. So it just seems like they're just trading farm right now. In pretty much all the lanes, like, it doesn't feel like anyone's being overly aggressive. Everyone's just happy to just farm up, although now bot lane, they will have it go on to Karka. Unfortunately, though, they did miss the shards. So they won't really be able to get much done. They might have to try again a bit later on. Though a few swipes were there with the tag team and did a fair bit of damage to Karka. In fact, they're going to try again. But again, Dogfight's forced to back off. Now last, copping a lot of damage from that Lone Druid. But no first blood as of yet.
Yeah, both sides are definitely playing a bit safer now. No one really going for anything too hard to commit into. Not really diving too far, just a healthy amount of harass coming out so far. And yeah, just pretty stable lanes in terms of at least not dying.
We're looking at Old 11 right now in that Sand King. He's being very frustrating with that Sandstorm. Like, he's under the tier 1 tower Sandstorming, just, you know, CSing as per normal, but the Phantom Lancer has to really take that DPS to be able to last hit as well. And I mean, it's not like you're going to be fearing for your life, but it's just so annoying to play up against. You just can't get in range without copping, you know, 50 damage or so before you have to leave. Maybe even more. There's not much Ollie can do about this either. They haven't really invested in much detection. And so, Old 11, currently top of the last hits board, doing a pretty darn good job. Doodle is keeping up. He's only 5 last hits behind. Looks like Dogfight's right now being chased up. He is about to fall. One more right click, and they do get it. So Old Chicken
Thanks and
He
have
managed
fun.
to get the first blood. Last wasn't able to help out. He doesn't have the shallow grave yet. He wasn't really in range to cast the Shadow Wave either. Ollie now being caught out, does get stunned up by Ying on that Leshrac, and Ollie should just end up falling. That will make it a 2-0 now, 5.5 minutes into the game. So Key Gaming, a very nice little start for them.
Yeah, nice, good start for them. I feel like IG do want a bit of a better start. Again, they are running the Tusk, who does dominate that early game. You do want to at least get something going for yourself. You want that Dazzle to really be equipped for that mid game as well. So, you know, you do have to ramp it up a bit. Does have a medallion now, Blast, so does have something for himself.
Mid lane, they have made a jump onto Ying, and it looks like he will end up falling. The X-Torrent boat combo does end up landing, and Ollie was there with the decay as well to make sure he lowered that HP just a bit. So a nice pick up though. Bot lane, looks like they have caught out last. The Fisher, very nice coming out from Kaka, and Dogfights was not there to help out in time. So they will end up finally picking off that Dazzle. Of course, Old Chicken will just go pretty much directly back to farming.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Kaka. Dark. Going on to Doodle, though. He will cop a Phantom Lance, and well, again, just seems like most lanes right now are prioritizing the farm game. Though Kaka will run into dogfights. The tag team will come up. It's only level 1, though. It doesn't do that much damage, especially while he's by himself. So they'll just trade a few hits and back off.
I think overall, in terms of how these lanes are going, it's definitely favoring KG. They're finding what they want. They've already taken 3 kills, although aggressive movement from dogfights, I'm not sure if this is going to pay off.
No, it definitely isn't, considering Last gets rooted up and ends up going down. Very unfortunate for him. It kind of feels like at this point, maybe you want to point in Shallow Grave, because, I mean, he's died twice now within the last minute or so. And meanwhile, Emo actually finding out Leshrac as well, so Ying does end up falling for a second time in the mid lane. Emo has definitely taken over. He's got about 1.3k net worth on top of the Leshracs. So we always talk about how Leshracs need a pretty good start to start snowballing. And if they don't, they basically become a walking creep. So he's got to really try and secure this lane a bit better, I feel.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying for this Leshrac. Again, Ying has not had a good time. Pretty far behind in terms of net worth, even behind the Dazzle, who's already had a pretty rough start. Not a good sign at all. At the same time, you should feel fairly okay. Your Loon Druid is farming up pretty good. The Sand King is doing quite well at the top as well. So not everything is going too badly for Keen. Again, when it comes down to these lanes, I feel like they're getting a bit more than IGS.
Well, they're going to go in mid lane. Emo is the target. The boat already came out. Nice torrent as well. Although the Fisher comes out, somehow Emo's still alive throughout all this. Now the decay as well. Last is there. They couldn't keep the Conqueror alive, but they will find 2 for the trade. And now Dark, he keeps moving forward. They will get Ollie, so a 2-for-2 trade for the moment. Another route coming out of Old Chicken onto that Dazzle, and Last probably will end up falling here again. Snowball will be there to save, but the right click from Old Chicken. I tell you what, John, every time that bear hits that Dazzle, he's rooting first time. Every single time.
I mean, that's all skill, Mike. That's pure skill. It's a skill shot. You know, it takes a lot to really get that. What can I say? It's just Old Chicken's that good of a player.
Meanwhile, Old 11 top lane just continuing to farm up. He's actually gone for a Vanguard first, which is not the usual kind of build you see out of Sand Kings, but I guess we haven't seen Sand Kings for a while now. They are going on to Doodle top lane on that Phantom Lancer, and again that root comes in clutch, though the snowball is there. Ollie, can they turn this one around, or will he get rooted again? Burrow Strike will only connect on one now. Doodle going straight onto the lone druid. The epicenter is there, but it doesn't really hit on anybody, and now the boat does connect. Although they do get the Phantom Lancer, they will get the Sand King in return. But it certainly feels like you don't want to lose your Phantom Lancer for the sake of a Sand King.
Yeah, not the best trade in the world. At the very least, you get a counter kill. But, you know, you lose your PL, who does want to farm up a bit as well. And, you know, PL's farm isn't too bad right now. 3.7k, Sand King's 2.9. But you do want to, you know, get a little bit more gold. Don't sacrifice your core like that if possible. I think I want to go back to that Sand King build, Mike. The Vanguard, I feel like we have seen it. If I recall right, it's stuck in my mind. I want to say it was from Fnatic's TI8 qualifier run.
Well, they're going to jump on Old 11 right now. The Burrow Strike is there. Snowball was waiting. Now the shards connect though. Nice triple stun coming out from Ying. And he will take down Ollie at the very least. Now Emo gets a double turret and the double boat as well. But where's the follow-up damage? Dogfights, he's about to fall and he will. And now the Burrow Strike again. Ying will finally end up falling though. Emo cannot find Old 11. And Doodle may end up losing his own life. In fact, no, Dark will back off. That TP rotation was just a bit too scary. And so, Keen Gaming remaining ahead, 10-6, 3k net worth lead their way. Emo still being chased down, and look at that. Old Chicken's going to find him, roots him in place, and Old Chicken gets the kill. Now a mega kill streak for this Lone Druid.
Really good start for the Lone Druid. We saw this in the last game as well. Once this LD gets a good start, it just really escalates. You know, he gets enough points in his Spirit Link to really buff himself in his Bear Up. He can really get that push going, and he can start itemizing to do more damage. I feel like we might be seeing the same sort of build coming out again. The Maelstrom will come out on Old Chicken at some point. Although there is some emphasis on Baron this time around. There are phase boots on that Bear. Beyond that, not really much being itemized on that Bear yet, so I feel like the emphasis is definitely on the Druid, and we should be expecting more to come from Old Chicken. Like, I mean, right now he's just doing a lot even without any major mid-game items yet, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Last, being chased down again. This certainly isn't the performance you'd be hoping on that core Dazzle, I'll tell you what, John. He's had 3 deaths in the laning phase. Still, well, he's about to hit level 8, but this, like, you look at his farm right now, he's only 3.3k net worth. Like, he may as well just be a position 4, it feels like. It's just not working out for him. He's going to make his way down the bot lane. It has been rough, though.
He's trying to finish his Necrobook 1 to maximize that 30% cooldown reduction. I don't know about it. Again, he does okay in lane. He can be really strong in the laning phase. But it's this time period, 12 to 25 minutes, I want to say, where you just don't know what you should be expecting from Cordaz.
There will be an engagement at that bot lane. Boat will come through, connects on nobody, and that'll pretty much be it seems, although Old 11. I think the problem is you go for this Vanguard first, you don't have the Blink Dagger available, so you can't really initiate for your team. And so he couldn't really counter-initiate once he had the possibility. And I guess they don't really care anyway. King Gaming, they're probably just going to go for the tier 2 mid tower now. Probably because you can't actually stop them. In fact, they will start a team fight. The Sand King going to get caught out. No Burrow Strike yet, but nice triple Fisher coming out now. The Epicenter as well as the Echo Slam. My goodness, Kaka really set that up for his team. And this is going to be disastrous from the side of IG. Emo trying to make a run for it. The Shrine is there as well, but he gets taken down by Old Chicken. They're going to lose a tier 2 tower. It's like part of me says just go for the tier 3 right damn now, but it's obviously we're 13 minutes in. But that's how strong the side of Keen Gaming look. Like they just look like they can't be beaten in a team fight with this draft.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the one thing that IG is getting from all of these trades is that at the very least Doodle is away farming. You know, he's working towards that Diffusal Blade. He's trying to get the items going. His farm is still behind the Leshrac even, so not in a healthy spot yet, but they are trying to build up on the PL to carry them past this point of the game, Mike.
Yeah, certainly so. He's got a lot of farming to do on this Phantom Land, so if he plans to catch up. And with the fact that Keen Gaming are basically starting to take map control and take over the enemy's jungle, it's not going to be that easy. Old Chicken, he'll get started on that top lane. Diabolic Edict, they do have it available on level 1, but it looks like they won't even bother bringing the Leshrac up. They'll just do a bit of chip damage on that tier 2. In fact, Old Chicken does go back for more. And now he will back off. Ollie moving into position. They might be able to get the Spirit Bear out of this. Though I do believe Old Chicken will probably be able to just respawn it, and he does have it available. For the rest of his team, they are trying to bait them out into taking a team fight and trying to get greedy about that Spirit Bear. IG, though, aren't really taking the bait. And so both teams kind of sit at a bit of a stalemate at this top lane. The Maelstrom now will come out on Old Chicken, so now there's so much more damage coming out of this lone druid. Sounds like a Burrow Strike has started the team fight. The boat comes in as well as the Torrent, though, to stop them from initiating, though Ollie is falling very, very low. Shallow Grave is there, though he is still stuck thanks to that Fissure. Shards is not going to help the situation, and Ollie is just dead. They want more, but IG, they've already made a run for it. But nevertheless, they'll get a tier 2 tower out of this, and I mean, 8k net worth lead. 16 minutes into this game, like it's a big damn lead to have.
Definitely is. It's a really good start for KG. I want to say start, but it almost feels like the end of the game. But a great start so far for KG. They've got the farm they want on their course. The LD is ahead by a mile. Your Leshrac and your Sand King aren't too far behind either. And you can kind of escalate from here. You've taken 2 tier 2s now. Just 1 tier 2 left for IG. You can start invading IG side of the map, take away farm that they want to find in the jungle, and just drain them out slowly but surely. I think at this point, if you're IG, you really need to wait for Doodle to get his farm going. It looks like he did just finish his Diffusal Blade, which is a start. I don't think it's going to be enough so far. Might be able to help you take out the Leshrac, but you know, the Lone Druid is still a pretty scary target to fight.
I mean, to make matters worse, like you look at Last, he still hasn't got that Necro 1 yet. Old 11, they throw the boat out top lane to try and go for him, but they get nothing out of it. He just continues to stand in that sandstorm. Bot lane, looks like they were trying to make a play onto Kaka, but it's only Doodle there, and well, he has a Diffusal Blade, but he's still going to be fairly concerned. He's still very, very behind in terms of the Lone Druid. Now Boots of Travel as well, coming out of the Leshrac, and they are going to go for that Roshan. Why the hell not? When you're this far ahead, you may as well go for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fast Rosh. Looks like no contest coming out from IG. They don't have any wards in the area. And even if they did, I mean, it's a nice tight spot for the boat Torrent. It still kind of is. It's also a very tight spot for Sand King and Earthshaker to really maximize their damage. So have to watch out if you're going to go for this contest in Roche. They're not even aware though.
And even if they were, you just don't really know if they take it. With that, KG moving forward, they just want to go for a team fight straight off the bat. They understand the lead they have. Dogfights, will he get rooted? No, he will use himself up. The boat comes in as well, and he will just snowball away. A nice play from him, although is it even going to matter? No Lucky Roots coming out, but look at the damage coming out from Old Chicken. Even the Leshrac as well. They're just going to bind 2 heroes for absolutely no reason, John. Like, it's just... IG, it looked like they should have been away. Like, every stun was missing from the Sand King and the Earthshaker, but it didn't even matter.
Yeah, it's really strange, IG's decision-making right now. Looks like they hesitate to go in, and then by the time they decide to go back, it's kind of too late. So they get caught out like that, they lose a couple of heroes they shouldn't have, and it's just a bit messy for IG.
KG now, maybe thinking about making a push to that tier 3 tower, though they do find Doodle in the jungle, and it looks like that's what they want. And he has not realized they're there yet. Oh, the Doppel was unlucky as well. Though they haven't realized which one's the real one yet.
Oh no.
Yeah, he walks right past them. Now the Fissure comes out and he's still standing there. Somebody go for him. Now they hex him up. The Shackles is available as well, but nobody's focusing on him. They've gone to the back lines. They're chasing Emo down, and they will end up getting dark on the side of IG. Now this looks great for the side of IG, in fact. Can they keep him alive? The Echo is great from Kaka, though. Fissure as well as the Epicenter. It's a lot of damage, but Keen Gaming, they're falling. Nobody from IG has fallen yet. In fact, Emo does go down. The Undying's down as well, and the buybacks are coming out. Doodle is being chased. Slowly but surely, the Root again comes in clutch on. It's just every first hit with the Spirit Bear is making it happen. Dogfights, he went for the snowball. He will end up dying for his trouble. That was probably the best chance IG had all game, and that's simply because IG let PL walk past them.
Yeah, KG ignoring Doodle for a while was pretty strange. It took them until illusion next to him expired, and they were like, "Hey, why is this illusion still up?" So a bit iffy, and IG did have a good opening at that back line, jumping in the back. They did manage to expend the Aegis on Ying, but again, I don't think that was enough. It definitely wasn't. It was pretty messy for IG, and I'm not sure exactly. I mean, Dazzle was there with a shallow grave, but beyond that, again, I'm not picking the on Last's play here. It's like he's trying his best with a hero. It's just we are seeing the issue of core Dazzle. It just
Double Burrow Strike comes out, and Last just gets melted. No Shallow Grave coming out in time. The boat is there, but what the hell does that do? Your Dazzle's already dead, and now the wards, the Fissure as well. It looks like they are going to find the Cooker, and Burrow Strike again coming out. Old 11, he's just finding everyone. They'll buy it back, but this could be the last team fight we're about to see, John. I don't feel like they have a chance if they lose this. They're 14k net worth behind 21 minutes in. The X is there, Emo, he gets Yule Star. Old 11 already just waiting, the Burrow Strike there as well. And he does get X back in time, but he is dead anyway. That's a dieback on him. Doodle trying his best to fight this out. He goes for Dark, but Dark is taking literally no damage right now. There is a buyback available on Doodle, but the tier 3 is already gone. You may as well just let the racks go. Although Doodle, he will buy back. Snowball dodge is there on the stun, but he's going to go all the way back into the side of King Gaming side of things. And the Burrow Strike again comes in from Old 11. The Ether Shocks, the Shallow Grave will keep him alive long enough, but the Spirit Bear is chasing, and well, it's some now. In fact, they feed the Spirit Bear away to Last on that Dazzle, but does it matter? I don't really know. Like, they've lost the tier 3 tower. They saved the racks, I guess, but they're still 17k net worth behind.
yeah, and looks like Keen is not even going to turn back yet. They're going to smoke up, hit that shrine, and maybe go into the jungle, look for someone.
Well, I just had a look at the Dota Plus win probability, John. 97% the way of Keen Gaming.
I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree. It's very hard to bounce back. You are pretty much at this point relying on Doodle. Nearly 100% all on Doodle. Maybe a bit of reliance on Emo's Kunkka. But at this point, your supports are turning into non-factors for the most part. The Dazzle is definitely pretty much near a non-factor. And it's definitely on Kunkka and PL to find farm they need. Pump out the damage they need to do. And stay alive long enough to see that damage come through.
Yeah. Emo going in. He cops the Fissure. Now the Burrow Strike as well. He's trying to bait them out, it seems. Although here comes Ying. Although that's a lot of damage he's taking right now from that Phantom Lancer. Now they're going to the back lines. They're going after Karka, but this fight is so split up. Who are they actually going on? The Shackle was there on Doodle, but there was no damage coming out. And now Dark, he's copying quite a bit. IG somewhat defend the high ground. They will end up getting dogfights in the background though. So Ying will find him. There is one hero down for the side of IG for another 25 seconds. Can they claim this mid-racks? They are going for the range first. Emo, he'll set up with the X-Torrent, but he will miss it. Old 11 just walking around in Sandstorm, and there's just nothing they can do about it. Fortification is there. We'll delay things for the range barracks. They're just trying to buy time, it seems, for dogfights to get back into this. Just needs a few more seconds, although the root comes out. Emo, he'll be alright. He just armor toggles through it. Will they engage? The boat, it does come out. Old 11, he blinks out of it just in time as well. He won't even cop the damage, and now the Millirax is in trouble. They realize there's no boat, so that's a big threat gone. How do they approach this if you're on the side of IG? You get hexed up. Tusk, that's going to be a pretty big loss if they do lose him. And the stun is there from Ying, and it looks like he will snowball for the moment. Old 11 will be the target. Now a very nice torrent coming out. Can they deal the damage though in time? Old Chicken just turns around and starts man fighting them. Now the Echo comes out only onto the PL, but that's a massive target to get, and they do find him. There's absolutely no buybacks left, and I think it's GG, and they've called it. IG have had enough of this game, and my goodness. I think if anything, John, we're learning that the Lone Druid is the hero to pick.
I mean, it's pretty good with Spirit Link. It's just been really snowbally. You just bully out in lane with your bear, find some decent farm, and really just build cheap stat items on the druid. Does a lot. 33 to 8, Mike. 25 minutes in, KG just takes it really convincingly. And that's our second tied series of this tournament so far.
Yep.
Really interesting game. I think, both sides tried to experiment with that core dazzle. In the end, I mean, Keen Gaming tried it game 1, didn't work out. IG tries it game 2, doesn't work out. It's going to be a while until that thing finds its niche, I have to tell you, Mike.
Sure seems that way, John. But for the moment, like you said, they do tie it up. So 2 tied series today. Of course, ironically enough, it was King IG Vitality and Keen Gaming Luminous tying it up, and Keen Gaming and IG tying it up. So apparently they're pretty evenly matched, these two. We'll see how they go throughout the group stages and, of course, throughout the playoffs once we get there. But for the moment, John, that's it for us for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Do you have any final words for the viewers before we head off?
I hope everyone's been having fun. It's been a rather interesting day in terms of draft, in terms of the Euros coming out and the plays happening. We should have a pretty interesting week ahead, so I hope you guys do stick around to watch the rest of this group stage unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. And on my part, it is MLPDota johnxfire. Consider following Twitter if you enjoyed. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and you guys have a great night ahead. Thanks for watching.